I'm Kristen.
And I'm Maddie.
We're sisters and heavy readers.
Join us every single week to talk stories, interview authors, and collab with fellow book nerds.
Welcome to the Chris and Mad Show.
Welcome to the show, you guys. Today we have a very special episode planned where we are going to expose basically what is in our journals, but don't feel weird. Kristen and I have shared a little bit on some other platforms about how we use journaling and have for many, many years to process life, to do exercises from the nonfiction and self-help books that we read. And we use it basically as an outlet to focus ourselves and know ourselves and figure out how we can hack or improve or level up our lives. And it's where we do a lot of, I think, what would be called spiritual work, just like soul work for the part of us that's not physical. And we feel very passionately about it. It's not something that we've as yet felt super comfortable to share on the internet, but we feel ready now. I don't know, something just switched. So yeah, are you excited or are you nervous?
Oh, I'm so excited because I feel like I could talk about this in my sleep. Also, Maddie and I do talk about this stuff weekly with each other. There just aren't cameras rolling. Normally, before we even get into our work for the day, I feel like we have like a little heart to heart, usually about a podcast that we listen to, or I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm reading this self-help book right now, and this is what I journaled on this morning, or this is what I've been thinking about. And I feel so lucky to have that in my life. You might get some book recs from this video, but that's not really the intention of this podcast. We just want to encourage you to find books like these if they sound good to you. But I'm going to show you guys some books too that are like feel-good books as well. So let's kind of step back. I would say I started reading self-help or like development, professional, businessy books in my early 20s because at the age of 22, I started a business. I was a consultant with Mary Kay Cosmetics. I also had a 3-week-old baby and a 2-year-old, so life was real crazy. But all of the women who were like successful in this business, so I'm talking about people who had like free cars with the company, women who had really large customer bases and large teams, 6-figure incomes. Okay, so all of these women were the women I hung out with from day one. I was just like, you hang out with the people you want to be like, right? They rub off on you. And all of them had these like really cute designer bags, and they all had a like self-growth book in their purse at all times.
Oh my gosh.
Like, if they had an appointment they were waiting for, they're sitting in their cars, these girls grabbed these books. And I, as a lifelong reader, was like, oh my God, these women read. Well, they were not reading this stuff that I was reading when I was young. But I started getting some great book recs and some that were just decent. But one of the ones that has really stuck with me, and I can't even show it to you because I've given it away. Like, I loved it so much, and I was talking to someone who I thought needed it. And it's Secrets of 6-Figure Women. And it's by Barbara Stanny. So Secrets of 6-Figure Women was so great for me because I was raised in a household where our father worked and our mother worked the home with 6 children and homeschooling and all that kind of stuff. And so I had never seen a woman make money, and I didn't even know like what that looked like to be a woman making 6 figures, maybe being the breadwinner of a family. And this book has tons of scenarios of different real life women giving their advice and the things that helped them like level up in their brain of where their belief was in themselves. So at 22, my income belief was low. I just didn't really have high expectations for me professionally. I had expectations in other areas that I would say were very healthy, but I had pretty low self-esteem when it came to income and business. And so this book, along with some other ones, really created like a new belief that I could be as successful as I was willing to be, or as successful as I could see myself. So I started seeing myself driving a pink Cadillac. I started seeing myself having $10,000 checks.
So what do you feel like once your belief started shifting, you just behaved way differently? Like, what actually shifted?
If you don't have a plan, then you like plan to fail. Like, you need to know where you're going. Like, you can't just like walk out into the world. Pick a direction. What do you want your house to look like? What kind of car do you want to drive? How much money do you want in savings? What does your body look like? What's your clothing vibe? And it really made me have to make some decisions that I had just never made. I was like, I wear Maddie's hand-me-down clothing. That's the clothes I wear. I buy the car that my dad is selling to upgrade his car. Like, you just were in default. You buy the car that or the house that you can afford.
Kristen, I mean, I don't think you mind me sharing. Kristen was living on an annual income of $13,000 a year with 2 children.
Bitches can't tell me nothing.
Yeah. Okay. So I feel like for her to then decide, like, I'm going to be a 6-figure consultant was pretty ambitious. But I do think you just like flipping a switch in your brain and being like, well, the only thing stopping me is me. And if I believe I can do this, then I will work the problem backwards and get it done. And you did. And Kristen did drive a pink Cadillac for 5 years that was paid for. So
I do not have all of the same beliefs that I had at that time, but I think I needed to move through those beliefs to get to the ones I have today. That was a season where I needed to learn, Kristen, you can. You can.
Yeah.
Okay, Maddie, what was your readage? When did you even start that? Were you still reading religion at that time?
I was doing a lot of personal growth books from the time I could read, but the one that I was going to start with is about
Not I Kissed Dating Goodbye.
Oh boy.
Not I Kissed Dating Goodbye.
This is really airing the dirty laundry. Wow. Oh boy. Let's skip that one. Okay.
You guys can do a little Google
They're
later.
gonna think we were raised in a cult.
I mean, no, we were just raised religious girlies.
Okay, well, the one I was going to talk about is called Broken Open by Elizabeth Lesser.
I still need to read this.
I don't know.
She said no.
Here's the thing. It's been so long since I read it. It's been about a decade. I just remember that when I left my first marriage and he had not cheated on me, he had not hit me, he hadn't done anything that would warrant me divorcing him according to the circles that I was in.
Unless you're Kristen and you're the sister and you're like,
get out, get out. Anyway,
okay.
This book found me at a time where I was feeling very torn between pursuing the truth and pursuing what was considered good by everyone around me. And as someone who has always wanted to be good, I was really struggling with, like, what if I'm bad? Like, what if what I want is very selfish? And this book is about literally breaking down all of the things that you believe are good or that you believe make you, like your ego, essentially. Breaking that down so that you can be rebuilt as a more true version of yourself. And this book was like a lifeline for me because I just kept holding on to, if I can be true, if I can tell the truth, then maybe that is my highest ambition. Like, that is the highest aspiration I could have, even over being good.
Ooh.
And it turns out those things are not mutually exclusive, and life is not as black and white as I make it in my brain. But at that time, it really felt that life and death to me. It felt that much like it's either the truth, which might be that I'm bad, or it's being good, but it might feel like living a lie for the rest of my life. And this book was just like, nope, we're just going to tell the truth. We're going to tell the truth no matter how ugly it feels, no matter how much it doesn't align with our own idea of our own ego, of us being pure of heart and altruistic and giving and all of these things that I wanted to be, that I still think are good. But it was just like, what if the truth is you're dying inside? Every day is a struggle and it feels like a lie, and you really don't think you can punch this clock for the rest of your life without it feeling like indentured servitude.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's so interesting to recommend books like this or even to, because that's what Kristen was saying in the beginning, is it's such a personal journey. And it's like, I don't necessarily think that I want to walk up to any 17, 18, 19, 20, 22-year-old girl and be like, hey, you should start being really true to yourself and really selfish and see how that works out for you and see how it makes everything better. It's like, you don't know yourself, so maybe not. And if you are a narcissist or a psychopath, maybe don't be true to yourself. You know what I'm saying?
No, no.
Same with manifesting. It's like, I do think that there's a lot of truth and power in manifestation work. However, I don't know that it always serves people, especially people who don't want to work, to be like, hey, just think it, and make it so.
Oh my God.
It's like,
we're gonna get into this, guys.
dude, honestly, the entitlement of some manifestation dogma is really, it's really intense for me. So anyway.
Yes, so that's like the dark side, I would say, if you take it too far. And these people are like, today I'm going to be wealthy and everyone will be my friend and I will make the deal that I've been trying to make. No. I was raised that humans are bad and we need the blood of Jesus to heal us so that we can earn a way into heaven. But I am here as a sinner and everything that I want is bad because I happen to like twerking and songs with bad music and having sex out of marriage. So I'm evil. And so when I found these things, I had just left, my family had left the church. I'm floundering and I'm like, I need truth and I need foundation. But what are the fucking rules now? All the rule book has been thrown out. Where are we? Who is in charge of this? So what is the yes and the no? So as I'm floundering and these books come to me and it's like, here's the deal. You actually can decide what is right and wrong for you. And once you decide, you don't have to wait for a green light from the big guy upstairs. You can just make it a green light for yourself. It's about decision making. And I feel like many people are bad at making decisions. We're good at letting other people make decisions for us. So you have to take a lot of personal responsibility for your life when you say, I'm the one attracting things into my life. Toxic relationship after toxic relationship, that's because I'm toxic as fuck. Like you are a match for the things coming into your life. Now, it could be conscious or subconscious, okay, desires. But when you realize that you have so much more power, I feel like I never had power in my life until I realized, God damn, between my work ethic and my vision and my belief that like things match up and light up with me, I just felt out of control. Like I was like playing a game and I didn't even get to roll the dice. I'm just like watching the game be played for me. So that's what law of attraction is for me, and what it has translated into for me is that I am actually powerful and I'm not that important because everybody's powerful. I'm just choosing to tap into it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Is that a little bit more helpful?
Yeah.
I feel like it's getting a little weird. And I also totally like threw religion under the bus. I'm so sorry. I respect all religions and everybody's processes. I have many friends who believe the things that I was raised with, and I love them with my entire heart.
Love that. Yeah. I mean, I would say it's similar. I never went through I've never read an Esther Hicks book, and I never went through a law of attraction phase, but I do think
you do live like all the practices.
When you were doing that, I was in a similar way, just being like, well, do I want to just accept the script that has been written for me, especially when it feels so untrue to me? Or do I need to write my own script and be brave enough to accept the consequences of the mistakes I am going to make, because I can't blame God or the devil or other people or circumstances or any of that. Like there's a part of personal responsibility and that comes with agency and power. And I think that when you embrace power, you also embrace a lot of accountability for how you're going to show up and the consequences of the actions you're going to take. And you have to be very willing to fail. When I was going through this time of my life, I got really practical. And for me, when I need to get clear when I need to get clear mentally and spiritually, I find I have to get clear physically. And so I found this little book. It's called Simple Matters by Erin Boyle. And it is an incredibly tactical, practical book about minimalism. And I say that with a grain of salt. I don't think it's purely like an argument for minimalism. I think it is an argument for a compelling argument for keeping your physical space low stress and recognizing that all of the things that you take into your life, whether that's a big wardrobe or a really intensely stocked pantry or a stationery collection or a jewelry collection or whatever it is, knickknacks and books, and magazines, all of these things that we take in, we have to recognize that we are committing future time and mental energy to managing, maintaining, and owning those things and using them if we want to use them. And so she just delivers this beautifully, aesthetically beautiful, compelling argument for really being a gatekeeper for yourself of the things that you bring into your life to manage. Who said that I needed all of this fucking kitchen gear when I got married and registered for this shit? Like, I don't cook. I do not need all of this. I need, this. And I was able to pare down my kitchen so much and just store so much less and wash so much less. And it was amazing. I started there. And then it was like my closet. I was like, who says I need to look like this and wear all this trendy shit and have a different outfit on every day to be attractive? And I just pared that down. And then it was like, I had been, in the beauty scene. It was 2012 and it was like, you need 16 blushers to be beautiful. And I was like, or one. So in simplifying my physical world and really making myself ask the question before I bought things like, is this how I want to show up? Is this what I want to spend my time managing? Is this what I want to own? Do I want this like actual physical baggage in my life? It was a really cool physical practice that ended up trickling into my spiritual mental practice, because then it did have an impact also on my relationships and my schedule and my time. I was like, do I want to go to that birthday party? Do I want to go to that concert? Do I need to hang out with these people just because I've been hanging out with them for 5 years? Are they still good for me? And I just got really clear about some of those things, and it completely changed my life.
The season is called The Purge.
Literally. And it's all because of this little home ec little book about like simplifying your toolbox.
I'm not trying to say we're like ahead of the trends, but like before everybody was doing all of the like Marie Kondo stuff, this bitch was doing it. Damn, her house is like always clean. That's because she doesn't have too much shit. Maddie looks put together. That's because she doesn't have decision fatigue getting ready every day, right? Or like, that's funny. Maddie has money to spend on expensive things. That's because she's not wasting her money on stupid shit. No, we all go through phases. I would say Maddie's a little bit more of a stuff person in this season than she was back then. Like, she really pared down. But if you're going through a purge season, just go off. Like, go all out. It's very good for the people around you too, because sometimes I think for our kids, if you've got kids in the home, or even for your spouse, sometimes they also wish that we did not have so much visual noise in our homes.
I also think it just helps for me because I can be a sentimental person. I think it really helped me to go through a phase of detachment. I sometimes think that sentimentality can just be misplaced FOMO and this fear, this like scarcity of like, if I don't have this, I'll never get another good thing like this. And I think it was a good practice for me to recognize like, oh my God, what if the best things I'm ever going to own I haven't bought yet? What if the best book I'm ever going to read I haven't read yet? What if the most amazing relationship in my life hasn't come along yet? Ooh. And just like putting that possibility out into the world made it possible for me to be like, you know what, if everything got burned up in a fire today, nothing would change about who I am or what I'm doing or where I'm going in my life. Nothing would change about my soul. And it's just like, it's okay to love what you have. I have so many possessions that I treasure and that I love, but it's just like really freeing. It is mentally and spiritually freeing to recognize if it all went away tomorrow, I am totally fine.
It's all good. I would read that book, Maddie. Can we all just agree that Maddie should write this book?
It's beautiful. I just read Simple Matters by Erin Boyle. Okay, what's next up on your little trip down nonfiction lane? What direction do we go?
I'm trying to decide. So I started digging into Louise Hay, and she is
Oh, I did have a Louise Hay book on my list now, but you do this one. And then...
Okay, so this one is Heart Thoughts by Louise Hay, and this one is You Can Heal Your Life. And they're just a little bit more, I would say, soft girl energy about how we do life. Like, okay, Kristen, you were insecure about how much money and success you could have, and now you know you can have it. If you can have it, does that mean that you want it? Mm-hmm. Do you need to be on stage in front of thousands of people with them clapping, for you with your face on the Jumbotron? Do you need that? Do you little slut for attention, you? And I was starting to feel like I didn't like people anymore. I think I was a little peopled out, and I just was like, I feel like I'm really good at being who other people want me to be. Guys, this is still an issue I have. But I was really leaning into it in this season. And so Louise Hay's book, especially the You Can Heal Your Life, she goes through all different things with exercises. For instance, self-criticism. If you find yourself like really criticizing yourself super hard, not only does she have like some phrases that you can use to replace the current tape that you're playing in your head, like you always fuck that up, or you're always disappointing people, whatever your criticism is, she gives you some good things to replace that with, and then exercises to slowly over time soften what you are doing. So it's soft girl energy because it's like healing these little wounds that we just like walk around with, right? It's like we're putting concealer on top of these wounds. And she's like, what if we just like took the concealer off, put some ointment on there, and just like let it be out for a little bit and just let it heal? Could we do that together?
I found that book at a different time in my life, but yes, I do love that book. Well, I can take this in two directions. Where do you want to go, Kristen? What seems interesting to you? I can talk about health, or I can talk about parenting. Which direction do you want to go? I'm
leaning towards health. I do not like parenting books because I do not like how most people parent.
This is the only parenting book I've ever read cover to cover. And I have bought it for most of my friends when they get pregnant because I actually really fucking like it. But
is it the one about goûter?
Yes.
Okay, then I do. Let's talk. Okay, let's talk about both of them.
I read this book called Bringing Up Bebe. And it's French. It's written by an American journalist who spent 5 years in France when she had her first baby. And so it's really just kind of like this very funny comparison of the differences that she saw between the way these French women entered motherhood and the newborn phase, the toddler phase, kind of like ages 0 to 5, and comparing that with what she would notice when she would go home to the United States and see how American parents parent. And so it's funny. It's like you can apply what you want to apply, but the rest of it is just actually super entertaining.
Okay.
And to this day, there are things that I still do that were really successful for me, I feel like, as a parent, that literally came straight from this book. So I'll just give one funny example. And that is that, like most children, I think, in the United States, as soon as my kids could learn to talk, one of the first things they started saying was snack. And it was all I heard all day long. Knack, 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 knack. I want a knack, knack. And I was just like, oh my actual God, no. I am one of those people who hates being in the kitchen. I hate to cook. And I don't want to be in there 55 times a day. I don't want to, every time we leave the house, I have to have all of these snacks in my freaking diaper bag. I was like, I didn't even want to have a diaper bag. I was one of those moms that was just like, good God, can you just not wet your diaper for 2 hours so that we can go get what we need to get done? I don't have to haul this fucking duffel bag around.
They're all ugly.
They're so awful. It's literally terrible.
It's like a ball and chain.
I was just like, no. So anyways, I was like, no. So I read this book and it was validating as fuck because in Europe, they have breakfast, they have lunch, they have goûter, which is spelled Gouter, goûter. At 4 o'clock, they have dinner at 7, and that's it. That's when they eat, okay? And goûter happens at 4 o'clock, and it usually involves chocolate. It's some kind of a sweet treat.
This is why I was meant to live in France.
And to this day, my children are now 8 and 6, and Winifred, the younger, never even learned the word snack. It was an illegal word in our house. We did not use it. I do not like that word. And they knew not to ask. You get a treat every single day at 4 o'clock. It's called goûter, and that's what we do. And to this day, my children come home from school at 3:30. I pick them up. They come home, and they go to the kitchen and serve themselves goûter. They call it goûter. They do not know the word snack. We do not use the word snack. My children do not snack. My children have a goûter every day, and it's fucking great. And it came right from this book.
Unless they come to my house and then they're like asking for snacks all the time because my kids do it.
Oh, because your kids do
They're
it.
like, oh my God, Aunt Kristen's so fucking hip. She's got all these snacks. I'm like, ah! Why can't I be Maddie?
Listen, I just like militantly, and I don't know. I just could not handle. I was going to literally lose my mind. So that came straight from bringing up Bebe, and that is by Pamela Druckerman. There's so many good things in that book. There's great things about sleep training. There's great things. There's so much in that book that just, you know what I really appreciated about it is that the overall philosophy of the French family seems to be that children are a beautiful addition to the family unit, and they have a place and they have a role. And the goal of raising these children is to make them joyful, content, and productive members of the family and the society. And what's so interesting in contrast to that is the American philosophy that seems to be that when a child enters the family home, the entire family shifts its focus to the child, and all of the rooms are taken over by baby equipment, and the kitchen is overrun by baby gear, and the bedrooms are taken over, and the car is taken over, and the mother's purse is taken over, and everything becomes taken over by the child. And the child learns that they are the focus of the home. They are the disruptor. They are the new addition, and they have changed everything. And in some ways, philosophically, that's true. A child enters the world, and your life is forever changed. That is non-negotiable. That is the truth. But the focus, instead of inviting the child into an established entity that already exists, that we have made room for this child, which is more the European focus, it seems like. The American focus is like everything has now shifted towards this child. We are now oriented around the child, and we orbit the child. And that's actually really intense for the child. It's like really intense thing
I
for
feel
them
like
to learn.
Having kids young and being so poor, I didn't have the opportunity to even go there. Because
you weren't going to buy like $5,000 of child baby gear.
No.
Yeah. Here's the thing. We don't talk about our kids that much, nor do we talk about being moms that much online. And so this is probably all you're ever going to get from us. But Here's the deal. We both absolutely love being mothers. We adore our children. And I think that Kristen and I both, we're very aligned in this. Kristen and I both feel that one of the best things we can do for our children is model that growing up is great, and that being an adult is great, and that there's so much to live for past reproducing. And so we do not make our entire lives about children.
Nope.
We have very full lives that we invite our children into, and we take it very seriously that we are raising kids to be independent, empowered future adults. So we really, I think that we foster a lot of imagination and play, and we want our kids to feel very free to be kids. And also we believe in them a lot. We believe in their capabilities, and we ask for them to behave to their highest potential, like cognitively, spiritually, emotionally. Like we ask them to be their best because that's actually for them, so that they can build the self-esteem and the confidence to be their best and know that they can handle it.
Well, it's just like, how would you raise your kids? Okay, if you weren't being like, I'm going to raise my kids the way my parents did, or I'm going to raise my kids the way my neighbors do, or the other women at the play place do. What if you were actually raising the future movers and shakers of our planet?
Yep.
How the fuck would you call that out of them?
Exactly.
And whenever I travel and my kids are like, Mommy, I'm going to miss you so much. I'm like, of course you're going to miss me because I'm awesome. And I'm going to miss you because you're awesome. And also watch me go explore and have adventure, because I want you to know that when you are a mother someday, or you are a father, or you are in your 30s, that you get to have adventure as an adult, that money is yours, that freedom is yours, that fun and friends, like it matters. Watch me read in silence. Because I deserve to have calm.
Yeah.
Like everything that I do is an example. Watch me hit the gym. not because the way I look has anything to do with my value, but because I love my vessel and I want my vessel to be able to kick it into its 90s.
Exactly.
Watch me lead by example
Yeah.
in the things I put in my mouth, where I put my feet, what I fill in my mind. I don't know. It's been really heavy on my heart lately, but I've been really annoyed by American parenting.
Yeah. So Bringing Up Bebe. Bringing Up Bebe by Pamela Druckerman. Okay.
We
And
should
now we
move
have
on
to go
to health.
super fast with health. Do you have any health ones?
Well, I don't think I've really read any books on health.
Okay, well, I went through a severe health phase where I was like, I've never dieted in my life. And I knew that that was not a path for me. But I did want to have some consciousness around the way my body works and what it needs to, just to feel its best. And I have pretty high standards. I do not want to experience PMS as a woman. I do not want to experience chronic fatigue. I do not want to experience energy crashes. I do not want to experience chronic migraines, headaches. I do not want to experience tummy issues, digestive issues, or toilet trouble.
I think everyone is saying ditto.
Like these are things that I think we normalize. Like everyone kind of has this chronic condition that they live with. And I think I was like, look, if there's a way to biohack my body in a way that supports it so that it doesn't have these chronic issues, then I'm interested in that. So I read a book called Moon Time, which taught me about my period. I've read several books about the menstrual cycle, but I'm trying to think of like a more technical one I read. But I really liked Moon Time. And Moon Time is by Lucy.
Moon Time.
Sorry, it's by Lucy H. Pearce.
Okay.
It's a short little book, and I highly recommend it for just basically like how to think about and treat your cyclical body if you're a woman. And then I read a book called Real Food for Pregnancy by Lily Nichols. And my thought behind that was the way I had never ate better or treated my body better or was more conscious than when I was pregnant. And so my thought was, okay, whatever we want to feed ourselves when we're pregnant is probably the things that we should just be feeding ourselves all the time.
Right.
Because you're like trying to nourish this baby and make sure it just has everything it needs to build a great body, right? And so Real Food for Pregnancy is by Lily Nichols, and it just covers the gamut. It covers vitamins, minerals, your macronutrients, your fiber, the things that you want to be feeding your brain, your organs, your central nervous system, all of those things. And it really helped me. And to this day, I eat what I would consider is like a very pro-metabolism style of eating. I really prioritize my body's ability to make energy, rejuvenate itself, and keep pumping all the time, because that's what I care about. I don't care much about my size. I would really like to eliminate acne in my life permanently without taking Accutane, but I am open to Accutane at this point.
Girl, she's saying that because I'm literally starting Accutane in a couple of weeks.
It's very interesting to be a 30-year-old woman and have your hormones show up on your face. It just is a weird phenomenon that I would like to stop dealing with. But in general, I have reversed some of my acne, and I don't have gut issues. I don't have PMS. I don't have headaches. I don't really have any chronic complaints.
She has too much energy.
Except, I sleep well. I don't use caffeine. I don't I feel like
she does not drink alcohol.
I feel like it works for me, and I feel like I can eat everything, and I don't have allergies, and I don't have things I have to avoid, and I don't have to avoid dairy, and I don't have to avoid gluten, and I don't have I just
living the dream.
I feel like I have food freedom, and I also feel like I don't have these kind of like chronic
I love that for
things
you.
people deal with. And I just think it's because I'm trying to feed my body like I would feed a little baby.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. Okay, I just remembered
But it also might
for
just be
health.
luck. Let's just be real.
It could also be like
health is some
genes,
luck.
hereditary.
Yeah.
I love Maddie's health journey. Something that, so I've never done like a food health journey. I've always been more like, start in the head, start in the heart type thing. But I read this book called 10% Happier by Dan Harris.
I hear such good things about this book.
I read it twice, not because it's like, amazing. It's just very practical. And I feel like if you go back to it, you're like, yes, okay, yep, I'm going to try that again. So he talks about how if you meditate every day for a certain amount of time, like not even that long, how you'll just be 10% happier. And what happens when you're 10% happier, 10% more open, 10% more calm. It's just like very simple, very basic. But I listened to a podcast by him and I was blown away. So Dan Harris, I have been meditating for about a decade now.
Yeah.
About a decade now. And I think that meditation is actually check yourself, Kristen. It possibly could be what will fix the mental pandemic that is happening on planet Earth right now. The noise in our minds is just crazy. And I don't think enough people know the skill of calming their mind and finding a way to do what Maddie did in her home, clearing things out, but in the brain. Okay, so yes, you could get off of social media. That would really probably greatly help if you're feeling overstimulated or having comparison fatigue or whatever. But meditation is crazy. So I'm gonna like be like super open with you guys right now. When I read this book, he kind of has some challenges about like, do this every day. Tell me it doesn't change your life. And I was like, well, I've been meditating, but like I was kind of meditating without any direction. I started doing his meditative practices and I'm in like one of the dimensions that's not known when I'm meditating. Like I feel like, not that I've ever smoked weed, but like I feel like I am higher than a kite and talking to God the whole time. And then when I leave, any anxiety or stress that I was feeling, it's not that those situations aren't still in your life. It doesn't make those things go away. But the feeling I was holding in my body, stress, anxiety, worry, whatever, is gone. Then you get your journal out. You're like, I was feeling this. I am now feeling this.
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is. And the way I can just literally do it anywhere, anytime that I'm having a stressful situation. Now, my favorite is my bed when it's quiet. But like if I'm in the airport and there's been a flight delayed and I start feeling all those feelings, I can just literally go into my brain now. It's like you like tap into something and I'm like, I think this exists for everyone. And we just like do not teach it to children. We are not taught it as adults. So 10% happier, or just watch the podcast if you don't want to read the book. I don't even know just look him up. I don't even know which one it was. It was great.
I love meditation for that reason. Okay, I think we can shift into, we could either do tarot or we can do green lights. Career stuff.
Green lights.
Let's do green lights. Obviously, we love Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. And I think out of every book I've ever read about business and work and every podcast I listen to, I think this is the one that has the most impact on me, because Green Lights as a memoir is just anecdotal evidence that you have to be true to yourself. You have to be accountable to yourself, and you have to run your business and your work and your career in integrity with the rest of you. And that may look completely countercultural. It might be very different than what business wants you to do or wants you to be. And I just think it's so important for Kristen and I right now in this season where we work together, but I think it's important across life in whatever work that you do to just be honest with yourself constantly.
No.
Is this who I want to be? Is this how I want to show up? Is this who I really am? And if it's not, and if it's not in alignment with the other things, then it has to stop. Doesn't matter how much money it is. Doesn't matter how much success you have. Doesn't matter, like, and vice versa. Like, you might be getting no money and no success. That's not really usually the case, but like, you might not be getting any of those like physical evidences that what you're doing is the right thing. But if you know in your guts that you are being true to yourself and showing up and doing the work that you can't not do, you will be fulfilled and satisfied. And I found that to be true in my life. I can always feel when we're off.
Yeah.
And this is why I think it's so important. I'm like, if you're having problems in your marriage, if you're having problems in your job, if you're having problems in your health, if you're having problems with your kids, if you're having, read Green Lights. That's how I feel.
Oh my gosh. I just remember reading it and being like, this is the example of what happens.
Yes.
When someone is in alignment. Because
Yes.
it's like, do I want to be Matthew? Do I want his life?
No.
But the fascination that I felt, like I'm Googling pictures of his super hot ass wife. I'm looking at the pictures in the book of his childhood. He just figured it out early enough that now he has these breadcrumbs. And it's like, this motherfucker knew.
He knew.
His whole life when he was journaling and taking these pictures. It's like, I know that he could see that someday there will be a memoir about me. And I want to be able to show what happens when you are unapologetic about your ambition, about your passions, your focus. When something's off, you're going to fucking call that shit. Like something is not right here. Yeah. And he's so funny that if you listen to his audio, like he is funny. And he looks at his life in different stages and he has like a bumper sticker for that season. Like, this is what it meant. This is what I take from it. This is what is now stamped on the back of my car.
There is just going to be different focuses for different seasons. You know, Kristen is doing a lot of work in this season that is very different than the personal work that I am doing. My personal work is very tactical right now. I am in a like education phase. I cannot consume voraciously enough to help me learn new skills. Like that is where I am 100%.
She's back to school.
I am, yeah. And I'm just like, I can learn how to do that. I'm going to learn how to do that. Yeah, I can learn how to do that. I want to know more about that. And that is what I'm doing. And my work, my personal work is about finding the balance and the meaning in learning skills and applying them in a way that actually makes me feel fulfilled and connected to the collective human race that I'm a part of. And how do I contribute? And Kristen is in a totally different phase, but it's beautiful to find ways that those different works can line up and sharpen each other so that Kristen can be doing the personal development she needs to do and I can be doing the personal development I need to do, and we can be on this journey together supporting each other. That's like the sweet spot. It is so important to me to be on teams with people and putting work into the world with people who are doing the deeper work while they're doing the other work. And even if the venture crashes and burns, I know the intention with which I have set out with this teammate to put this work into the world. And to me, it's not really about success or failure anymore. It's about the way that we're showing up to do the work and why we're doing it. And if we are in sync about that, then it all feels like magic to me, whatever the outcome is.
Oh, I love that. I was just going to say, Maddie shared like her personal work. So I'll leave you guys with my personal work for the year. I'm basically doing the hardest things that I've been afraid of my whole life. And I'm not going to get into those things right now, but it is really, really great to stare nose to nose with the thing that you have been afraid of your whole life and be like, come at me. It's so freeing. And I feel like it's a layer that has come from so many things. But when you have a coworker who like gives you space to express, to decompress, to be honest, I think magic happens in a place of truth. And Maddie cannot live anywhere else. So even though I've worked with other amazing people in my life, I've never been with somebody who won't let me be truthful. Like, I mean, she won't let me not be truthful. Yeah, like she will call me out and she will, where are we at today? And it's like, would I have ever gotten to where I am now, this place where I can stare my biggest fears in the face? Would I even be there if I didn't have a safe place where, yes, me and Maddie do so much for work, but we do really treat this like life work?
Well, I mean, just to get real corny about it for a second.
Let's go there.
The point is, Kristen and I are readers. Yes, we're story lovers, but we're not authors, but we are the authors of our lives. The life we are living we want it to be a story worth telling. We wish you all the best as you write your own life story, and we hope that it's super epic. And if any of these books can help you out, or you guys want more recommendations like this, or if you have your own recommendations of books that have really made an impact on your life and you want to leave those in the comments, that would be amazing.
If you are listening to this somewhere where you can leave a comment or rate and review, please do that. It always helps us out. And if you are watching this somewhere where you can leave a comment or subscribe, you know what to do.
We appreciate you guys. Hope you guys have a great week. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I bet we'd be good together if I could just get